Well, good morning and welcome to Adventures in Awakening here at Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. But then you too are at the center of the world. The title of this talk is How to Stop Driving a Meat Truck. I was writing about that this morning. I'm a little late. I had to take a friend, had to drive a friend somewhere, so I'm a little late with the talk. But this morning, the first thing I wrote about was on a discussion on vegetarianism. And I recalled how I once drove a meat truck for 3 years in the 70s. So let me tell you that story, because I think we all would like to stop driving a meat truck. I call the meat truck the karma truck. You know, the funny thing about driving the meat truck is that you work all day to unload the truck, and you go home and the truck is light and you're light, and you go home and you get up in the morning and you go to work and you open the truck up and they loaded it up full of meat during the night, and you have to empty the meat truck all day long again. And then you go home, you finish, I've unloaded the meat truck. And you get up in the morning and you open the door to the truck, the back, and it's full of meat again. And sometimes there would be a leg of a steer poking out through the boxes. You know, you have these boxes of meat, and there would be a leg called a quarter of a steer. And of course you would have to, back in the 70s, let me create the scene, because we don't even know this world today. But here, excuse me, every little town in the South had several grocery stores, and every grocery store would have a butcher and a meat department in the back. And in the back, the meat truck. And these were not tractor trailers, but they were refrigerator trucks, would come with the orders of meat for the day. And I was a meat truck driver. And yeah. And the horror of horror, I'm not a big man. And the horror of horror was to open the truck and see a leg of a steer sticking out, you know. And that's a whole quarter of a steer. And it was a huge hunk of meat, and you had to carry that in. And I remember, and so you pull this thing off the truck, and you got it on, you carry it in, and there's this huge old butcher standing there with his arms crossed, watching you carry this meat in, you know, and then you then you throw the meat onto the table, whoop, and the leg of the meat catches you right in the crotch and lifts you up, and you go, ah! And the butcher just laughs and he says, never carry it with the leg down. I digress. So what happens in the meat truck? What is this connection between the meat truck and the karma truck, and how do you stop driving a meat truck? Well, basically the context of this story was that I went to Cleveland to practice yoga, to become a yogi. This is 1970. Become a yogi, to become enlightened, to become the elite yogi. You know, the light of yoga society. We were going to change the world with yoga, you know. And so after a couple of years, the great expectations didn't expire, and I didn't become enlightened, and I didn't become a great yoga teacher, and I got discouraged. So I left and came back to Virginia, but I couldn't find work except driving a meat truck. So I'm a vegetarian yogi meat truck driver, probably the only one that ever existed, a vegetarian meat truck driver. And I'm driving the meat truck, and pretty soon I get my yoga teacher says, I don't know what you're doing down there, you know, driving a meat truck, you know. And pretty soon I get a Big Mac attack. And then and of course I'd given up meat. And I got a cigarette attack, and of course I'd given up smoking. And I started drinking when I got home. I was giving up drinking. And now I'm a fallen yogi. I've left my path. I've left my dreams. I've left God, the whole works, and now I'm smoking, and I'm not just eating meat, but I'm eating the expired meat. I would take home the expired hot dogs and eat them. And drinking, and I'm just wallowing in self-loathing. I'm buying cigarettes with one hand and literally throwing them out the window with the other. I'll buy, I'm quitting. I'm done with it. Would you give me some Marlboros, please? Then I would smoke. God damn it! And I throw it out. Back and forth, up and down. Civil war. No place to go. Nothing to do, but stew in it. Really, going into the depths of self-loathing, depths of hell, the dark night of the soul. Oh, the pits. No way to get out, no way to get in. Sitting in it every day, sitting in it, sitting in it, sitting in it. So I did this for 3 years. Maybe 2.5, I forget. And then one day, it reached the saturation point. When you stick a microphone in an amplifier, I love this metaphor. It goes, wow, 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 cut it off, you see. Either your mind blows up or the amplifier blows up, but it reaches a saturation point. So you always cut it off before it reaches that. You cut it off before the amp blows, which it will, or your mind, you see. So we cut it off, do something else. But sitting in the meat truck, I couldn't cut it off. The wow, 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 wow. I hate myself, I'm good, I'm bad, I'm good, I'm bad. I'm falling, I'm up, I'm down, I'm up. Wow, 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 wow. Buy cigarettes, throw them out the door. Back and forth. Wow, 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 wow. So what was the explosion? What was the Big Bang? The Big Bang was an idea of knowing. Suddenly, I asked my heart, I said, what do you want to do? I asked my heart. The mind didn't know. The mind was going, wow, 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 wow. What do you want to do? I want to go back to Cleveland and practice yoga. To get back on my path, back on my dream, back on my dharma, you see. And suddenly, the meat fell off, the cigarettes fell off, the drinks fell off, it all. And I knew what I was going to do. And immediately, the meat truck fell off, and I went back to Cleveland to continue my journey. Many dramas to come, but I knew what I wanted. So the point here is that when you feel the self-loathing, the wah, wah, wah of being fallen and not getting up, of disappointing yourself, of despair, desperation, anguish, allow it to be. Sit in it. Don't go anywhere. Allow it to build up. Allow it to reach its crescendo. Allow it to come to its climax. Allow it to be consummated. Allow it to finish. You see, we stop too short. Oh, I'll get drunk. I'll go find somebody who will tell me what to do. I'll try this. I'll try another truck. No, sit in the self-loathing. Don't avoid it. Don't accept it. You see? So sitting in it, in this way, you see, is allowing it. You're not accepting it. Okay, I'm a loathsome being. I accept that. No, no, no. And don't deny it, you see. Because the buying of the cigarettes and throwing the cigarettes out, you see, are the yes and the no. So the catch-22 here, I use this all the time. The catch-22 is the yes that's no, the no is yes. Buying the cigarettes, throwing the cigarettes, that's yes, that's no. No, yes, yes, no. Wow, 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 can't do one or the other, you see. So you allow both. You allow both. You sit in the uncertainty. You sit in the despair. You sit in the not knowing what to do. And you allow it to build. And it creates, just like the wah-wah in the amplifier, it comes to a saturation point where it cannot go any further. It cannot go any further. So what happens when you reach that point? You don't know what's going to happen at that point because you don't know where that point is. But if when you reach it, bam, you know what to do. And the knowing what to do is the being. The knowing and the being, the knowing and the action is one. You see, in the wah-wah, you're two. I'm cigarettes, no cigarettes. I'm good, I'm bad. I love myself, I loathe myself. Ah, wow, 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 wow. You can't do, you've divided into yes and no. You divided into twins, each reflecting the other. So you can't get a one because the one is the other. You see, if you got something in a, you can't get rid of the reflection in the mirror because it's the other. So just sitting in it allows the one to be born out of two. And that one is knowing what to do. I know who to marry. I know what job I'm getting. I know where to live. I know what to do. And it could be on a simple level, like I know how to open this box, or I know whether to retire now, or I know what to do. But when you know what to do, you just do it. There's no more wah-wah. You see? There's no more karma truck. There's no more meat truck. Anyway, thanks for dropping in. See you tomorrow.